Assalamualaikum. Today we are going to introduce to you about the history of games. So as we all know that dice are not a modern invention. Dice is known as the oldest and also the most popular gaming tools. So during an excavation in southeast Iran, a group of archaeologists found a set of dice that aged 3,000 years old. So even though the archaeologists not sure about what the dice are played for, these dice are popular even throughout the decades. The most popular games in casinos are games that are related to dice, and it will remain until the 21st century. This is because games that use dice are the most profitable. So in less adulty settings, dice are also used at homes and also at schools. Moving on to tiles and dominoes, they are emerged 1000 years later during the Song dynasty in China. Meanwhile, in Western countries, it started to emerge during 18th century. In China, mahjong are the most popular game that use tiles and dominoes concepts. So moving on to the board games, example of board games are snakes and ladder and also chess. Chess, or also known as the game of kings, is believed to originated from India, and it is originally called as Chaturanga. More recent inventions from board games are card games. The example of card game is tarot cards, where it is used as to measure potential outcome around a person, event, or both. Carom and pools are the example of table games. They are among the oldest, but their existence are still unknown until now.
The development of electronic games begins in the 1940s, and in 1940, Condon displayed a machine that he designed to play name it at a fair, and 90% of games were won by the machine. And then in 1947, Thomas Goldsmith and Ethel May developed a cathode ray tube amusement device for a game that allows players to shoot targets on the cathode ray screen. Moving on to the 1950s, Alan Turing and Claude Shannon created a machine that can play chess, which Turing wrote the first computer chess program. And then in 1952, OXO, or as known as Noughts and Crosses or Tic-Tac-Toe, was created by A.S. Douglas. And in 1954, Blackjack program was created by some programmers at Mexico, and this is the first Blackjack program that is developed on an IBM 701 computer. In 1958, Tennis for Two that can be played on oscilloscope was created by William Higginbotham, and he created this game for the laboratory's annual exposition. And then Space War was created in 1962. It is actually a space combat video game that is created by Steve Russell in collaboration with Martin Grates and Wayne Wittanen, and programmed by Russell himself. In the end of the 1960s, Ralph Weber develops Brown Box, a video game prototype that allows users to play video games such as ping pong, tag, and volleyball.
So, in 1970s, maze and role-playing games were famous. The first one that got famous is Oregon Trail, which got famous in 1971. It is originally a card game which can simulate the trail after it evolved into a video game. The next one is Maze Wars, which was famous in 1974. It is a maze adventure video game that was made with wireframe graphics. And then Adventure in 1976 were inspired by Dungeons and Dragons. It is a text-based and role-playing games. In the 80s, arcade game hit the industry. First, arcade games evolved in Japan, causing a shortage of 100 yen coins. So Pac-Man, a game that everyone knows, is an arcade hit in 1980. This is because it strikes a blow for gender equality, which means both male and female enjoy the game equally. Next, Nintendo made a game named Donkey Kong, which is also known as Super Mario in 1981. And next, Disney also took the opportunity to make a game, Tron, by the movie itself, Tron, in 1982. In 1983, multiplayer games were introduced with Mule, which is an adventure action game by Dan Bunton, and in 1984, Tetris, which is a puzzle game, was created by mathematician Alexei Pajitnov. So next, we are going to talk about the 90s era. In the 90s, strategy and war games conquered the market. So these are some of our strategy and war games that were famous. Dune 2 in 1992, Mortal Kombat in 1993, Warcraft Orcs and Humans in 1994, and Lara Croft Tomb Raider in 1996. Well, other than war games, there are also some of the famous games that we know today was also introduced in the 90s. So the first one is Solitaire in the 1990, and the next one is Sonic the Hedgehog in 1991. Next is in the 2000s era. 2000s was more focused in improvement in the handheld devices. Microsoft has entered the market with Xbox and games like Halo Combat Evolved, gaining millions of fans with its advanced graphics. So, Nintendo also produced Nintendo DS, a portable gaming system with 2 processors and 2 screens, and multiplayer capabilities and a stylus for touchscreen. Microsoft's Xbox 360 brings high-definition realism into computer games in 2005, and Nintendo Wii were also produced with motion-sensitive remotes and appeals people who are non-gamers before. While in the late 2000s, mobile games started to pave its way into the industry with Farmville and Angry Bird in 2009. Finally, we have reached into the today's era, which is the 2010s era. In this era, free-to-play games were getting attention, such as World of Tanks, Clash of Clans, and Kim Kardashian Hollywood. These kinds of games achieved sales in hundreds of millions of dollars through microtransactions payments for in-game items and premium content. So next is augmented reality game. Skylanders Spyro Adventure became the first AR hit by letting players plastic figures on Portal of Power to zap characters into the game. And the next one is a free-to-play hit. Pokemon Go in 2016 was a new wave in the AR industry. That's all from us. Thank you.